Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Debate Idea program, and I am your host Tariq Khan. Viewers, in the previous two episodes, we have analyzed and explored how India has violated Geneva Conventions and its important articles, and how India had been using illegal, invalid laws with the Indian Constitution. So today we'll memorize Kashmir Day as a day of martyrs. This was the day of 13th July 1931, when Dogra forces of the princely state Jammu and Kashmir had killed 21 Muslim protesters. Till then, Kashmiri people are struggling for their freedom from brutal Indian forces in Indian occupied Kashmir. And since the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, which gives the special status to Kashmir in the Indian Constitution, still India is under the lockdown by Indian forces in the Indian occupied Kashmir. So today, three guests: Advocate Rehana from UK, Mr. Mehmood Faiz from UK, and Madam Mushaal Hussein Mullick will join us to pay tribute to the martyrs of the day of the Kashmir. So, Madam Mushaal Hussein Mullick and Mr. Mehmood Faiz will join us later, but Advocate Rana has joined us in this program. Advocate Rana, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining the Debate Idea program. And how would you explain what does the first Kashmir struggle on 13th July 1931 remind us for all martyrs and freedom fighters of the Kashmir? How would you give your views?
First of all, Assalamu alaikum to you and my colleagues who are actually in the show with me today. And I would like to say salam to the audience as well. It's a great opportunity to actually talk on this occasion, which is being observed between the Kashmiris, and especially in Azad Kashmir, and it comes under the name of Yom Shuhada, like the Martyrs Day, which took place on the 13th of July in 1931. This is the day when actual Kashmiri struggle started. This is the day when the Kashmiris understood that they can't actually live under the Maharaja anymore, and they need the independence, and they need to be given equal rights. Because in that time of history, if we read, we will know, although the majority of Jammu and Kashmir was based on Muslim people, but it was ruled by the Pandits, which were actually in minorities. And because of them, a lot of changes were always taking places, and Muslims were never given the opportunities to actually study and to have good jobs and to have a better life. So this occasion actually marked the day, made them, reminded them that they are a different nation, and they need to actually be in the majority. They need to stand up for themselves. And this is one of the incidents in the history that can't be seen in any other Muslim country, or like a country where Muslims are living with other like minorities. So what happened on that day was although the history says 21 Muslims were actually martyred trying to complete the Azan, but it also has been said that they were not 21, they were 22, and they all happened in the prison, through the Dogra army. And they were trying to complete the Azan, and they will keep on killing them. And then this is the history. So we actually mark it as the beginning of the struggle of Kashmir. And I would also like to remind the audience, although my colleague has actually spoke about it earlier, that Jammu and Kashmir has never been a part of the subcontinent. And I can give you evidence, because if you look into the laws of 1860, the British Raj, you will see over there that under the articles, it says that Kashmir was exempt. So Kashmir was actually never a part of the subcontinent. But yes, as my colleague said earlier, that the British Army did actually, as they invaded the whole subcontinent slowly, bit by bit, so they also actually took over Kashmir as well. And this is why before they left, they asked Kashmir, the princely state, with some other princely states, that they need to decide whether they will actually want to go with India or Pakistan or be on their own. But most of all, they did ask all the states that if they are a majority of Muslims, they should go with Pakistan, and if they are a majority of Hindus, they should actually go with India. So I would say that this week is a special week for us. It's going to remind us of all these struggles, and we can see that it's actually been so many decades, but the passion, determination, and the love for freedom is actually still there. So this incident gives a strong message that to especially the Indian government, which keep on saying that like there's nothing like that happening. So the Indian government needs to know that this struggle is old as 1931. So it's not going to be easily controlled as they think. And yes, I would like to confirm that Pakistan still observes this day, but India stopped observing this day in the December 2019. It's the same year when India violated the Shimla contract and India took over Kashmir on the 5th of August 2019.
Viewers, Honorable Mr. Mehmood Faiz have joined us from UK. You are head of Liberal Democrats Friends of Kashmir, campaign manager for JKLF UK, and expert on Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Sir, thank you for time in debate. Sir, today we are memorizing the Kashmir Day or the Day of Kashmir. So, how do you view this day? As India has always imposed restrictions on Kashmiri people to use social media, as we have an example of the Burhan Wani in the past, and why every Eid makes Kashmiri people more sad, as all the people are awaiting the case of Yasin Mullick. So, how do you view all these developments?
In 1931, the Dogra forces, on the instruction of the Maharaja, opened fire on protesters. The president protested because an individual had been arrested, was taken to court, and the people felt that he wouldn't really get a fair trial, and they were protesting. But in between came time for prayer. And when they went for prayer and did the azan, as soon as the first started the azan, the military forces fired and killed him. And the second person took over to complete the azan, and he was also shot by the military. And this went on. A total of 21 people were killed, but I believe that the 13th person got up and actually faced the azan. And that's in the history of Islam. That's the most people that have lost their life in the process of making sure the azan is called, which is a call to prayer. And total of 13 people died. The day has been remembered in Kashmir by everyone, is celebrated and is remembered to this day in what is Azad Jammu Kashmir. However, and is a holy and it's an official holiday. However, in the Indian occupied Kashmir, it's not allowed to be celebrated, and the Indian government made it illegal to actually celebrate there. Remember the people who lost their lives in the pursuit of what effectively was a call of democracy, a call of a government elected by the people. And that was really the seed, the plant that you could say that started the movement for independent Kashmir. So although people may think that independent Kashmir or Kashmir movement started in 1947, it actually started on that day in 1931, because from that time, the people then said that we want an independent government of the Maharaja and there's no other option. The other thing to remember that the princely state of Kashmir was not part of the British Raj. It was never part of India. So it never fell in the two nation theory. It was always independent. However, the British did have some say in it that the Maharaja couldn't make a foreign policy or couldn't do foreign business, and that he would use British forces for protection. This is why when in 1947 the uprising again came to overthrow him and he appealed to the British forces to come and save him, they turned and they said, no, we can't, because we're no longer a part of the agreement. We're no longer rulers in India. Therefore, our agreement ends. And it goes on from there. And since that time, many sort of martyrs have lost their lives. And many martyrs have lost their lives, really, and that's so it's a very significant day for Kashmiri people to remember, for historians to remember, and people who fight for human rights across the globe and for liberty and democracy to remember that. I couldn't understand anything you said, but from what you understand is on social media, why India's banned social media for people. Well, the simple thing is the India people, why is banned social media? It's not banned social media for, why is banned? Because with any oppression, before you can cause any oppression, any massacre, it's not the innocent that die first. It is the truth. And in India, the far-right government of Modi is trying to suppress the truth. It has now become a criminal offense for a journalist to report and tell the truth, or even try and tell the truth. What the far-right government of India is doing is hiding the truth from the people of India. And it does this in several ways. First, it stops human rights activists like me. For example, I have broken no Twitter rule. I have an email from Twitter, so I've broken no rule. But the Indian government asked me to ask Twitter not to allow my tweets to go through to India. And this is not just me. Many Kashmiri activists, many human rights activists, it has happened to. So it's and if you're hiding truth from the people you represent, then you are not enemy of Kashmir, enemy of truth. You are also enemy of the people of India because you're hiding the truth from them. And this is the reason, and this is the reason the Indian government is doing it. It's trying to hide the truth from its own people. Go back on Twitter. The right of freedom and the right of freedom of expression is enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So what Twitter is doing is going against the basis of what later became the Human Rights Act. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Declaration of Human Rights document is the predecessor to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights Act. Now, how is Twitter sort of then? So what Twitter is actually is by colluding with the Indian government and stopping the freedom of expression and the freedom of speech. What Twitter is, so if, for example, Twitter passed on any information that led to the death and discrimination or torture of anyone, that also Twitter is complicit in that and has broken international law. So it's very interesting how Twitter is sort of acting the way it is, because it's acting against the spirit and the laws of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Yassin Mullick case shouldn't even exist. There should be no case, because Kashmir is not recognized by the Indian community as being part of India. Yassin is being tried under Indian law. Indian law on international law doesn't apply. That's why Yassin Mullick did not plead guilty or not guilty, because he's simply the Kashmiri people and the Indian community does not recognize that the laws of India actually apply in Kashmir. And you got to remember this. If every oppressed person abided by the law of oppression of his oppressors, there'd be no free country in the world whatsoever. Every country would still be oppressed. India would still be under the British. British would still, South Africa would still be under the apartheid law. Zimbabwe would still be Rhodesia. If you are under oppression, you need to stand up to the oppressor. So the oppressor's law do not go against the spirit of freedom and liberty. So therefore the case should not even is against international law. If you remember rightly, if you can remember, there was a G20 meeting and India cleverly tried to set that up in Kashmir. Well, because the Indian community does not recognize Kashmir as part of India, the international delegates refused to attend it. Therefore, India was forced to put that back to Delhi. And I think that it itself shows that the world does not recognize Kashmir as a part of India, because it is not a part of India. It never has been, and inshallah, it never will be. And the fact that you have 800,000 armed soldiers tells the Indian people, it told the Indian people something. If Kashmir was a part of India, then why do you need 800,000 soldiers? Why do you draconian law that allow people to arrest someone without charge, to hold them without charge? Why is an Indian soldier allowed to rape, murder, kill, and commit arson, yet he cannot be tried even under Indian law? That shows something to the international community, and more important to the people of India whose name this is happening. This is happening in your name.
Sir, Mehmood, Faiz, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Advocate Rehana, why India is imposing restrictions and blocking or banning the youth from social media, as we have discussed the case of the Burhan Wani. Why India need to do all these democratic actions, as India always recognize itself as the liberal states? How do you view this?
I would like to say that, like, yes, India has been doing this from a long time, and myself, I'm a victim of it as well. I have been raising the voice for Kashmir, and not only Kashmir, even for the Punjabi people, Dalit, and the Christians of India who have been suffering. So what happened is, like, my account was actually withheld in India since last year, since last year April. Now, what is happening that, like, Indians, and especially Kashmiris from Indian occupied Kashmir, they are not been able to view my tweets or my account. And so many got in touch with me and saying to me that for some reason, whenever we actually try to go into your account, it says withheld. What is going on? So in the beginning, I didn't understand myself. I spoke to a few people as well, and they had similar issues, but not many people. It was only those people who are really, really working hard to actually bring out the truth about India. And then I started to do my own research. And when I was doing my own research, as I normally do on Indian laws and articles and about different things, I came across a law which is called Information Technology Act 2000. And I came across this article, which is, this section 69A. So under this section, what they are doing is that anybody who is a threat to Indian integrity, they actually withheld their account within India and in Indian occupied Kashmir. Now, this section is actually for people who are living abroad, people who are living in India and who are actually part of Indian occupied Kashmir. For them, they are using section 69A, so it's a different one. So what is happening under this account? All my information is actually being passed on to Indian Home Minister. And the Home Minister is actually passing the information on to the courts. Now, when it goes to the court, there's two things they do. Either they get in touch with you to inform you that there is a case lodged against you, or either without informing you, they actually do the proceeding. So what in actually my incident, and in maybe Mehmood Faiz's incident, and even Michelle Mullick is actually going through the same thing. She was telling me in our last program last week. So what is happening is that our accounts are actually banned, and we have like 7 years imprisonment on us, and we have a fine. So if we ever go to India, they are going to arrest us straight away, and they are going to put us away because they find us a threat to India, and they feel like we actually exposing India by actually telling the truth and maybe making up a few things. Now, going back to social media, what I would like to talk about is that tomorrow is the 8th of July. So 8th July is the day 6 years ago when one of our youth Kashmiri freedom fighter, Burhan Wani, was actually martyred tomorrow. He was the hero, and he is the heroes of the youth. He is the person that who actually made the youth realize what is happening in Kashmir using social media. Because before that, all the struggle of Kashmir was actually going to on the grounds. Now, he actually made people understand that there are different ways to struggle for Kashmir. You can use social media as well. So he is the youth that who actually made people realize that there is something happening in Kashmir, and social media is the best place where we can expose India, because on Indian grounds and on Kashmir it's not easy, because we all know that there is Indian army imposed in Kashmir, and on on 8 Kashmiris, there is one Indian army officer who is taking care and seeing what is happening and reporting back. So this is something I wanted to mention as well. So Burhan Wani is the new hope for us Kashmiris, and for the youth especially, to actually encourage them that they shouldn't stop, they should keep on fighting for their rights. It doesn't matter what will happen. If they will kill one person, they will arrest one person, there's going to be more people, like they say. That so basically India is actually thinking that by stopping Kashmiris on social media, India can continue with these atrocities. Now, there's one thing else I would like to add on, that India is actually having a crackdown on the youth in Indian occupied Kashmir. So it keeps an eye on their activities, and whenever it finds out that somebody is trying to write more what is happening in Kashmir, so it goes to their houses, it picks them up, it threatens them, like they get interrogated, and then they get asked to actually delete their comments, and they also get to sign a bond. So bond is an agreement between them and the Indian government that they're not going to say a word, and if they break the bond, that means that they are going to be detained or arrested. So this is something very important that I actually wanted to actually add on. And I would like to also say that, like, India needs to remember that occupation has expiry. In the history, we haven't seen any occupier who has stayed on till long. And the last thing, like I would like to say is basically that you can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution itself. You can't kill a thought, and you can't kill somebody's passion who wants freedom, because they will take it, and this is in the world history. So all these bans, like on my account and like other accounts like Mehmood, Faiz, and then Mushaal, Mullick, and I know Abdul Hamid Lone as well, and Naila Kiani, and then there's actually many names of my colleagues who are working with me for the freedom of Kashmir, and also talking for the human rights of other different minorities in actually India. All of our accounts are under monitored, and then people can't hear us like in actually Indian occupied Kashmir and in India. And I would also like to say that I'm very disappointed with Twitter, because Twitter is actually helping them, because Twitter is passing on the information, and Twitter is not only actually helping them, even Twitter we have issues with them, because once your account actually gets withheld, your notifications are actually gone. Like your features have been limited. Now I'm not getting notifications for my messages or my likes. The only notification which I'm able to get on and off is actually if somebody tags me or if somebody like follows me, but I'm not getting other notifications. So I would like to actually say to Twitter, if they're going to be listening to our program, that they need to help us to bring our features back. This is very unfair, because this is against international human rights, especially the freedom of expression, because the West is all the time promoting freedom of expression. And I feel like we are not being given a freedom of expression. And by doing this act, India is violating its own article from Indian Constitution 1950, Article 19, which talks about freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and freedom of actually press. So anything can be written, said, and broadcasted. India can't stop it. By doing this, as I said earlier, it is actually disappointed not only the world, it's disappointing its own nation as well.
Yes, Honorable Madam Mushaal Mullick has joined us, and we would love to take our views without any delay. As the world is witness that you are waiting for your beloved husband and are making struggle for Kashmiri people freedom and represent the voice of Kashmir in the international community. You are chairperson of the Peace and Culture, and nobody can understand the pain of you and Kashmiri people more than you. Madam, how do you view this Kashmir Day, and why India is making restrictions on social media like Burhan Wani, and why every Eid makes Kashmiri people more sad, and nobody can understand your pain and Kashmiri people pain more than you. And every Muslim and Kashmiri people are waiting the case of the Yasin Mullick, your beloved husband, and we are standing with you in case of Yasin Mullick and every Kashmiri freedom fighter. How would you express your views on this development?
Date, the supreme sacrifices of the 21 Kashmiris who stood for the first time, against the Tehreek-e-Kashmir occupational forces and resisted against the heinous designs to crush the Muslims and to make fun of Islam and for not to complete the Azan. It is a day not just to commemorate for religious freedom, but for freedom as a whole, for the right to identity and self-determination, honor, dignity of any human being. And this incident on 13th of July 1931, when we lost 21 martyrs, and their bravery, their courage, and the way they fought against the Dogra forces is a ray of hope and a beacon and a symbol for all the resistance of the Kashmiri people, which started especially on this date, which is called the Kashmir Martyrs Day. This is the benchmark, this is the hallmark of our struggles, and also the way forward to not give up. And till date, Kashmiris remain steadfast and are combating the occupiers. First it was the Dogras, now it's the Indian forces. So the battle is the same, to fight against the occupier with resilience, and we are standing together. And this is a day to make the struggle of our heroes immortal and follow their footsteps. Recalling the enormous sacrifices, especially one of them during this week on 8th of July 2016, of a young boy who was brutally murdered, I owe a heavy debt to him and to all the brothers and sisters of Kashmiri soil who have sacrificed their precious lives to attain our ultimate goal of freedom. On this day, I make a pledge as well that no matter what happens, our struggle will continue, be it 13th of July 2031 or 8th of July 2016 or 5th of August 2019 or 25th of May 2022. The goal is so visible, it's clearly written on the wall. It's only the deaf and dumb and the blind, like the Indians, who are just completely so vicious that they've lost their senses, complete insanity in their hatred and their revenge to commit genocide and eliminate the Kashmiris. His only crime of that young boy and others was to create awareness on social media against all the demographic changes. And they were of this generation, the tech-savvy generation, to which they wanted the world to know from the digital eye that what India is doing with them. This Eid, like many other Eids, we've celebrated in separation, me and my husband. We've hardly spent 2 or 3 Eids together. And right now he is locked up in a death cell, and he has been sentenced twice, life imprisonment, solitary confinement, and rigorous 10-year imprisonment. India wants to eliminate the entire leadership, especially my husband. And then again, on the 3rd day of Eid, we see another hearing, court hearing, in Jammu and Kashmir under Indian occupation, one of the fabricated cases against my husband, along with many other cases. And all these cases are unfair, they are illegal, and they want to crush the most powerful voice of freedom, the most peaceful and most internationally acceptable voice, and following the legal legitimate path of the UN Security Council resolutions. And Kashmiris have that right, and he is the leader of this movement. And India wants to eliminate all the peaceful voices.
Advocate Rehana Ali, as you have listened the painful expression of Madam Mushaal Hussein Mullick, and she said that India want to eliminate us. So what do you think why every Eid makes Kashmiri people more sad as usual? What do you say?
As I was saying earlier, that they actually did have the Indian flag on top of a clock tower, which is based at Lal Chowk. But to have that act, they had to have so many army officers actually around that place, because they were worried that in case some incident takes place, and within 2 hours they had to remove it. So that's a clear indication that that Indian flag is not welcomed in Kashmir. And as my colleague said earlier, that Kashmir has a lot of army, about what I know is about 12,000 army forces there, and is increasing day by day as I'm talking to my friends and family who are from IOK. And on the other hand side, India has draconian laws. So if it's part of India, as India claims that Kashmiri love India, those draconian laws. And one of the laws we all know is Afsafa. So Afsafa has Section 7, impunity. Impunity means without justification, any army officer, even on suspicion, can kill, arrest, rape, murder, and they can actually seize the property and even burn the property. Now, which country has this type of laws? This only means that for them, every single Kashmiri and even Indian is a terrorist. This is why, if you look at Indian laws, it has a lot of draconian laws, like the detention laws, and it has laws like Afsafa imposed not only in Kashmir, they're also imposed in Indian different states of India. And India has other laws like National Security Act. So this is a matter of not only about Kashmiris and other minorities. It's for Indian and it's for the world to think that this country, which is calling itself world's largest democracy. How can it be a democracy? Because even United Nations has urged India that till they have laws like Afsafa imposed in India, it can't call itself a democracy. And even with the other detention laws like Public Safety Act, like Amnesty International said it's a lawless law in 2010. And then with the biggest detention law in India, which is Unlawful Activities Supervision Act, Amnesty International and United Nations have actually urged India that it needs to remove this law, because this law is like a draconian law and it violates international human rights. And under this law, they have long detentions and then no trial and any bail, which doesn't make sense if you're calling yourself a country which is a democracy. So going back to the question again, so every Eid, India tries to do something to actually make sure that the people of Kashmir have no kind of happiness, and many people can't celebrate because they have lost their loved ones. Like we see a lot of like half widows and half orphans in India. Many women have lost their husbands and sisters, their brothers, and not only it's about men, even women. So they have started to arrest, detain, and kill many Kashmiri women as well. So this has been going on from since India has been occupying Kashmir since 1947. But in the last couple of decades, since we had Afsafa in 1990, this situation has gone worse. So when we talk about the Martyrs' Day, so Indian Hindus don't like that day to be. They've never liked that day to be celebrated, because for them it makes them realize that two-nation theory was the right thing that the Muslim thought about, and it also makes them feel that Muslims treat them like their enemies. Like they don't recognize that like Kashmir is a state which has majority of Muslims, and Muslims have been suffering. For them, the little minority of Hindus should be controlling Muslims, and this is why all these incidents have been taking place since 1931. And I think the second part of this question was about Yasin Malik. Now, going back to Yasin Malik, I would like to remind the world again, the reason why Yasin Malik said that I'm a freedom fighter, and then you can give me any punishment you like if you feel that what I done is wrong, is because he doesn't recognize the Indian laws. And he wanted the attention of the world. He wanted the world to know that like this is a disputed state. I'm not an Indian citizen. And whatever I say, they are going to be prosecuting me anyway. So I am not going to waste my words, because I am a freedom fighter until I'm alive. And he's the chairperson of JKLF. So till I'm alive, and my followers there, and other Kashmiris who actually recognizing one of the Hurriyat leaders as well, that there is going to be the struggle. This struggle can never stop. So this is one of the reasons as well that he actually refused to have any kind of aid from the Indian courts. And we all know is that like on the 15th of July, we are going to be he's going to be having some more hearings done, which are going to be more serious. So I will actually ask everybody who's listening to us here to make prayers and to please expose India that first of all, India has no right on any Kashmiri, because the United Nations Security Council Resolution 47 says that like till plebiscite, in India or Pakistan can't keep any political prisoner. So how can these political prisoners they have been keeping from the case is the right thing they are doing? And not only they're keeping them prisoners. They are giving them life imprisonment, like they've actually given to Yasin Malik and some other Kashmiri leaders in the past. And they're also giving them death sentence, like they gave to Afzal Guru Shahid and to Maqbool Bhatt as well. So these are all violating human rights. They are violating Geneva Conventions. So under the Geneva Convention, like as I say, said most of the time, Article 27, it says that like in any circumstances, Kashmiris have to be regarded as they have their own identity. So you can't stop them from their from their rights as a Kashmiri, like freedom of expression, their family rights, and their rights of actually going to the mosque, and the rights of customs they have, and the way they want to spend their life. So what India is doing by force is asking them to actually become Indians by accepting that India is not occupied and they're part of India, and to raise flags on top of their houses, because this is going against the violation. This is a violation of human rights, like Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 1. All humans are born free and equal in dignity. So how can the West keep on going on about equality, about saying that all humans are equal, when on that side humans are equal, but when we talk about South Asia or we talk about the East, we are not getting to actually see the same rights. We are not getting to see that the world is speaking for us, like they've been talking for, like Ukraine, and they've been talking about other genocides and other things happening in the world with the West. So we have no problem with other countries. For us, humanity is actually above all. But we believe in equality, so equality should be there. Otherwise, we didn't need to make the United Nations. We don't need the first Article 1 Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We don't need that if humans can't be treated equally. And I will appeal again that we need to stand up to the world. And we have to make sure that everybody unites, because this is a life. This is a Kashmiri leader, Yasin Malik, who has been suffering and is suffering with other Kashmiri leaders who are already in prison. And some of the Kashmiri leaders, like Shabir Shah, is very ill at the moment. And we hear that like Asya Indirabi and her colleagues as well, they are ill as well. They are not getting any medical assistance as well. So the world needs to save humanity. And if you don't stand up for humanity today, because we know that India and Pakistan are in nuclear power, there could be a World War III starting soon. Thank you, and I hope that like everybody will actually unite, and they will make sure to expose India in every single way they can do, online, by articles, by tweets. In any single way, the world needs to stand up, and they need to make sure that humanity is respected. Thank you.
I say thanks to all for sharing your thoughts and to pay tribute to the martyrs of the Kashmir Day. And thank you so much all again for your time in debate.
Thank you for inviting me to your program once again, Tariq Khan, and giving me the opportunity to actually speak on the behalf of the Kashmiris, especially for this week we are observing as the Martyrs Week. And this is a very important week because it makes us highlight all the incidents which the Kashmiris have been suffering over the decades. So I would like to thank you once again, and all the audience and my colleagues who have taken part in this program. And inshallah, I will come to your program and talk about the atrocities being taken place by the Indian Army and the Indian government. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.